Let's see the pile load test now. So it is similar to the plate load test which we saw in shallow foundation. What we do with this test, we find out the pile load capacity or the ultimate pile load capacity, or we can also find out the settlement at any given load. So this is the purpose. So similar to plate load test, here also we will plot the graph between load and settlement. So it will be something like this, or depending upon the soil. So using this graph we can find out the load at a particular settlement, or we can calculate by using some technique the ultimate load. So this is the purpose of this test. So it is more beneficial in case of cohesion-less soil. Reason is same, because pore water pressure will not develop, so the water will drain out, and the settlement is also instantaneous, or we know it as the immediate settlement. So because of that reason, in cohesion-less soil it is very useful. In cohesive soil it is also useful, but obviously when it comes to settlement in cohesive soil, these tests are not very relevant, because the settlement is time taking in case of cohesive soil, that we know it is called as consolidation. So if we are trying to find out the settlement, then obviously this load this pile load test is not very useful, but in case of ultimate load capacity we can use it. Just we have to be careful about the pore pressure and the disturbance when we drive the pile or we place the pile. So the disturbance which will be caused, that should be considered, and depending upon that we should find out the ultimate pile load capacity in case of cohesive soil. So there are three types of tests depending upon the pile. First is vertical load test, second is lateral load test, and the third one is pull out test. Vertical load test is done when the pile is under compression. So we will plot the load settlement graph and we'll find out the ultimate load or the settlement, whatever is required. Lateral load test is used when the pile is loaded laterally. So in that case we will conduct this test, and pull out test is used for a tension pile. These are the different kind of tests. Now in this test also there can be an initial test or there can be routine test. Initial test is conducted to find out the allowable load and to predict the settlement on a working load. To predict settlement at a working load. Whereas the routine test is conducted to, as a check, it is conducted as a check. So are the piles working properly, and we can also find out the settlement at the working load. So there is some guideline for the test. If there are more than 200 piles, then minimum of two initial tests should be conducted, and 0.5% of number of piles. If number of piles is n, then 0.5% times n, that is 0.5 by 100 into n, should be the number of routine tests, or it is from this we will get the number of piles on which the routine test is required to be conducted. So this way we can find out how many tests are to be conducted in the field. So depending upon these, there are two types of pile, that is test pile and there is working pile. So test pile is used just for test. Just for test we'll use it, and we'll try to find out the allowable load or settlement, and we will not use this pile as our foundation pile. Whereas working pile we'll use it for test and later it will be used in foundation. Now depending upon the pile, there is some guideline up to which point we have to conduct this test, or what should be the load or settlement up to which we have to conduct this test. So the load up to which we have to conduct the test is minimum of these two criteria. That is, either it will be conducted up to 2 times our estimated safe load, or load at which settlement attains load at which settlement is equal to 10% of pile dia if it is a single pile, or in case of group pile it should be 40 mm. So this is from the settlement criteria, that the settlement should not exceed 10% of single pile dia, or in a group, if it is a group of pile then the settlement should not be more than 40 mm. So when let's say this pile dia is 100 centimeter, so we have, from this criteria we will conduct the test up to which 10 centimeter settlement has taken place. So the load corresponding to, from this graph, load corresponding to 10 centimeter settlement, we'll conduct the test. And similarly, in case of group of pile, load at which the settlement is 40 mm, up to that point we'll conduct the test. So that was for the test pile. For working pile, it should be 1.5 times the safe load, or the other criteria is load at which settlement is equal to 12 mm for single pile and 40 mm for a group of pile. So the load corresponding to these settlements will conduct the test depending upon if it is a test pile or working pile. So what is the procedure here? So at least 3 piles will be used. Here this central pile will be our test pile, or the pile corresponding to which we are trying to find out the load settlement curve. These will be the supporting pile or anchor pile we can call as. So here we'll keep our pile cap, and this pile cap will be loaded using suitable arrangement such as hydraulic jack, and then we'll apply the load. So what should be the load increment here? So if ultimate load is P, then load increment would be, we'll apply an increment of P by 5, that is 20% of this load. So first we'll apply P by 5, that is 0.2 P. So we'll keep this load up to a point, or until rate of settlement is equal to, or it is less than equal to 0.5 mm per hour. So we have applied 0.2 P, and we keep this load up to we reach this level of rate of settlement. Then we'll increase the load. So next load will be 0.4 P, and we'll again wait up to this point, that is rate of settlement should correspond to this value, and this way we'll obtain our load versus settlement curve. So depending upon these, we find out our allowable load capacity of pile or group of pile also, for both. So there are some criteria for that. the allowable load capacity should be 2/3 of final load, for which settlement is equal to 12 mm, or it should be 50% of final load, at which settlement is equal to 10% of pile dia. If it is a uniform dia pile, that is if it is this kind of pile, or if it is an under-reamed pile, that is if it is having a bulb here, then this value would be, this settlement should be 7.5% of bulb dia. So this way we can find out the allowable load capacity. So these two criteria are there, and minimum load between, if this is criteria 1 and this is criteria 2, so minimum load from these criteria will be our allowable load capacity. So that is for a single pile. If it is a group of pile, then allowable load capacity is the minimum of these two criteria. First criteria here is final load, at which settlement is equal to 25 mm, and second criteria is 2/3 of final load, at which settlement is equal to 40 mm. So minimum of these two criteria will give us our allowable load capacity of pile. So that way we can find out the allowable load capacity. Or if we know if there is some restriction on the settlement, so in general this value is, we have said earlier, as I said here, that this settlement should be 12 mm, but if it is a very important structure, then this settlement can be restricted to, let's say, 10 mm or something else. So this value will be replaced to 10 mm or whatever is the settlement, and this criteria is applied. So using these criteria we find out the allowable load. So this is the first type of test, and apart from that, cyclic load test is also used. Cyclic load test. So when cyclic load test is used, when we want to find out the end bearing resistance, end bearing and skin friction resistance. Friction resistance separately. So in this way the plot will be something like this. We are applying the load and we are getting the settlement. So here we can only obtain the overall allowable load or overall ultimate load for the pile. But if we want to find out separately the end bearing and the skin friction, then this cyclic load test is used. In this test, what is done? First, some load is applied and corresponding to that settlement is noted. Then this load is removed. So this pile will rebound due to the elasticity, and then this again, after this point the test will begin again. So this kind of curve is obtained, and using that these two values are obtained. So this kind of knowledge is enough for the exam purpose. After that we will see the dynamic load formula.